Good morning, good morning, good morning. And it is another beautiful day here in the Scottish borders. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I've just had a bit of an issue with my audio recording equipment. So hopefully it's coming through okay. It's not too windy or anything, so no reason why not. I'm a little bit in the dark at the moment. And also just strangely self-conscious because I've just come to the place where I normally do this, and for some reason I appear to have come at peak dog walking time, which is fun. So I get to look like a bit of a weirdo walking around talking to myself, but that's fine because I have my old man hat on with my sunglasses. Makes me look a bit like some kind of hipster farmer. I'm also, just to add to things, still wearing my morning exercise gear. As well as the weighted vest that I normally wear to do the rest of my morning routine and once I finish exercising. So adds a whole different flavour to sorting out the dishwasher and hanging out the washing and all that kind of exciting stuff. Sorry, I will appear back in the light in just a moment or two, hopefully. Beginning to come back in now. So what I wanted to talk to you about this week was something that I've been reading about that's quite interesting, has kind of caught my attention, and it's something I'm going to be doing a bit more research into and probably going to be factoring it into some of the coaching work that I do and things like programs and content that I'm working on. And it's the concept of psychological capital, which I'm not sure what the origin of it is, but I suspect it probably comes from organisational psychology, and from what I can gather also has some links with positive psychology as well, and it's some determinants of essentially having a kind of positive mindset, a positive outlook on things, and a way to kind of maintain the ability to cope and be resilient, and how to exist in flow, I guess. And then you kind of come down to, well, what does flow mean? And I think flow for me, and that's what I try and live the majority of my life in if I can, is that kind of state where you feel like things are frictionless, I suppose, but I don't really believe in absolutes when it comes to these things. So I suppose what we're aspiring to do is have the minimum amount of friction possible, so we can either get more done in the same time or the same amount of stuff done in less time, and also just generally getting things done no matter what the amount, with less stress. So that's flow for me, and there's a lot of people that are far more knowledgeable about flow than I am. So I'm just going to focus on this concept of psychological capital. And like I say, a lot of big organisations are interested in this and what it means for their employees and how they can run as an effective business. I'm more interested in it as an individual, essentially, and what it means to me. So there's an acronym, as there always is for these kind of trendy things, and the acronym is HERO. So we'll just go through each one, and I'll just chat about my thoughts on each one, and how I kind of try and work on that in my own individual way. So H is for hope. And if you look into this, if you do your own research on this, there's some really good articles that kind of explain it, and they'll offer a definition, but I think it's really important that you kind of think, well, what does that actually mean to me, rather than what does someone else say it means. So hope for me is just that kind of real belief that things will have a positive outcome, that everything's going to be okay. And you need to be really careful, so there's a lot of crossover for me with giant bales of hay. There's a lot of crossover then with Stoic philosophy then about how actually we should aspire not to be adding judgment onto things, like things aren't good or bad, they just are. So I think it's, what does hope mean to you? And I think just garnering that internal feeling, like, regardless, I know that I can't control everything in life, but I have a feeling deep down inside me, my instinct is that things for me and for the people around me will have a positive outcome. But that's potentially me applying some judgment on that. So I'm trying to get into the habit now of not really regarding things as positive, negative, good or bad, but it's just how do you building things into your life where you can just retain that sense of hope that, you know, there is going to be good things at the end of the rainbow. You know, there are going to be things that you're going to regard as good at the end of the rainbow. That just starts to bring that sense of positivity to your life. E is for efficacy, and again, form your own definition of what you think efficacy is, but for me, efficacy is just about how you do things. So it goes back to that whole thing about flow, doesn't it? So how can you live in a way that maximizes your ability to live in a kind of flow state, whatever that looks like for you. Sorry, I'm back in the dark again. So I'm a big fan at the moment of the getting things done methodology, David Allen's thing that he's developed over several decades, I believe. So I've listened to the audiobook a couple of times, and I'm reading the actual physical book and kind of properly trying to learn things from it as well. And I'm just in the process of looking into becoming a getting things done trainer as well, but that's a kind of medium term goal with everything else that's going on in my life at the minute. So just making sure that how you're living on a daily basis, that you're trying to remove as much of that friction in your way as possible. You know, how do you organise yourself? How do you make sure that you're getting the things done that you need to do and the things that you want to do? So having some kind of system in place so that you're not putting obstacles in your own way just by the way you kind of opt to do things. R is for resilience, and again, insert your own definition here, but my definition of resilience would be having the ability to bounce back when things maybe don't go according to plan. And again, I'm just being really, really careful to try not to apply my own judgment to things here. You know, I try and remind myself from time to time, sort of stoic type mantra, things are not good or bad, they just are, and it's how we respond to them that matters. So what are you doing when things maybe don't go according to plan? How are you reacting to that? Are you spending a disproportionate amount of time complaining, not really taking enough ownership over things? So we talked about ownership in a recent video, I think, and I will probably talk about it again because I think it's really, really important. But just that almost radical acceptance that, right, this has happened now, how do I respond in a way that gets me back on track again? So that's resilience. And then O is for optimism, and I think this has got a big overlap with the other elements, but also with hope. And maybe for me, I think hope is maybe a bit more long term. You know, you don't necessarily hope that much about the things in the short term, the things that are about to happen. You know, so I think that's kind of a bigger picture thing for me anyway. I don't know how you feel about it. Optimism, I think, is kind of like the short term version of hope. So you have that kind of present feeling that, you know, things are going to work out in the best way that they can do. And I think a lot of that is actually having faith in yourself to some degree, that, you know, I have that faith in myself and my own abilities, and how I respond to things, that things will turn out in a way that benefits me and the people around me in some way. So that's hero, and I feel, I said, this is kind of thoughts early in thoughts in the kind of early stages of, from my point of view anyway, about how I actually choose to embody and live these things. But I just want you to have a little think about those things. So what does hope mean to you? What does efficacy mean to you? What does resilience mean to you? What does optimism mean to you? How can you utilise those things to change the way that you think about what goes on in your life? So if you've watched it to this point, thank you very much. I appreciate there's potentially not many people watching these videos at the moment. Maybe one day there will be, but I really enjoy talking to myself, talking to you guys. If one person benefits from any of these videos, then as far as I'm concerned, my job is done. But yeah, please like, please share, please get in touch with me and let me know how you get on. Okay, bye bye.